When you hear the word cult, you probably imagine something extreme, matching outfits, doomsday predictions, blind loyalty to a leader. But what if I told you that many of the same psychological tactics used by cults are also found in mainstream religions? From an atheist viewpoint, the line between the two isn't as clear as you might think. Today we're asking the uncomfortable question: when does a religion become a cult? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Definitions matter. Before we start throwing labels, let's define the terms. Religion is generally seen as a shared system of beliefs about the sacred or divine, often involving rituals, moral codes, and community. Cults, in sociological terms, are often small, tightly controlled groups with unorthodox beliefs and a charismatic leader. But some sociologists, like Steve Hassan and Margaret Singer, define cults based more on behavior and control tactics than on belief systems. So, the real question isn't what a group believes, it's how it behaves. Chapter 2. The behavioral checklist. Here's a framework often used to assess cult-like control. Milieu control. Does the group isolate members from outside information? Mystical manipulation. Are members told that random events have divine significance? Demand for purity. Is there an obsession with sin, guilt, or spiritual cleanliness? Sacred science. Is questioning doctrine discouraged or punished? Dispensing of existence or outsiders seen as doomed or evil? Now ask yourself, how many of these apply to certain major religions? Chapter 3. Shared tactics. Cults versus religions. Some similarities are hard to ignore. Fear-based obedience, hell, disconnection, Armageddon, or being shunned. Us versus them thinking. Believers versus worldly people. Infidels, apostates. Control over behavior. What to eat, say, think, or wear. Authoritarian leadership. Infallible prophets, popes, or elders. Financial exploitation. Tithing, indulgences, prosperity gospel. Isolation. Leaving the faith equals losing your family, community, or salvation. While not every religion uses these tactics to the same degree, many use some. Chapter 4. But scale changes perception. Why is a small doomsday group called a cult, but a billion-member faith is just religion? Simple. Normalization and scale. The longer a belief has existed, the more culturally embedded it becomes. Once enough people believe something, it stops being weird and becomes sacred. As an atheist philosopher Daniel Dennett puts it, there's nothing intrinsically noble about a belief just because lots of people believe it. Chapter 5. Faith-based control in modern cults. Let's talk about faith. Not in the poetic spiritual sense, but in the way cults weaponize belief. Many cults present themselves as religions. They use familiar symbols, scriptures, and rituals, not to enlighten, but to control. Take the Jehovah's Witnesses, structured like a church, but rigidly hierarchical. Disfellowshipping ensures total obedience. Doubt isn't just discouraged, it's punished with social exile. Scientology frames itself as a modern spiritual path, but critics, courts, and ex-members have described it as a tightly controlled organization that uses aggressive surveillance, psychological pressure, and financial entrapment. Then there's the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a breakaway sect from Mormonism led by self-proclaimed prophets. Their version of faith includes child brides, total isolation, and unquestioned male dominance. These aren't outliers, they're examples of how some groups adopt religious language to legitimize cultic control. In these environments, faith becomes a tool for submission. Belief is demanded, not explored. Questioning is treated as betrayal. Chapter 6. So what's the difference? This is the uncomfortable question. Is there really a meaningful difference between a religion and a cult? From an atheist viewpoint, perhaps not. Both claim access to absolute truth. Both demand faith without evidence. Both often discourage critical thinking. And both can use fear, guilt, and social pressure to keep people inside. The main difference: legitimacy by numbers. If a cult gets big enough and survives long enough, it graduates to religion. It's not about truth. It's about time, tradition, and political protection. Final thoughts. So, when does a religion become a cult? Maybe it's when belief starts requiring obedience over understanding. Maybe it's when questioning becomes forbidden. Or maybe that line doesn't actually exist. From an atheist lens, religion and cults often rely on the same tools: unquestioned authority, fear-based control, emotional manipulation, and social isolation. The real difference: power, size, time. What we call religion is often just a cult that's been successful enough to blend in. If this video made you think, consider subscribing to Decultified. We dissect cult tactics, high-control groups, and belief systems with reason, evidence, and some dark humor. Thanks for watching, and remember, doubt isn't dangerous. What's dangerous is obedience without question.